What's going on, guys? Firewolf Tech here, showing you guys the Alienware AW3225QF gaming monitor. This monitor has some dreamy specs: 4K, QD-OLED, 240Hz, 0.03 millisecond response time, NVIDIA G-Sync, and it's curvy. With all that, this 32-inch monitor ain't cheap with a retail price tag of $1,200. So you and I both want to know if this gaming monitor is worth getting. I'll be showcasing PC gaming, PS5 gameplay, MacBook connectivity, and a full unboxing, so stay tuned. 4K OLED and 240Hz really makes the gaming experience pop on your gaming PC, but you are going to need a powerful GPU like the RTX 4090 if you want to hit these high frames on AAA titles. Even if you don't plan on using a gaming PC, this monitor features HDMI 2.1, so you can take advantage of 120Hz gaming on your PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X. I've been using this monitor for a few days now, and I've been very impressed with the quality of the display. You're getting next-gen QD-OLED panels, which is a huge improvement over older OLED monitors, and it looks absolutely fire. The blacks are super deep, and OLED just makes it look super creamy. The colors look amazing, and the brightness is a huge step up from even the previous Alienware AW3225QF that I reviewed 10 months ago. I haven't noticed any obvious color fringing, and this monitor does feature OLED maintenance to help and prevent burn-in. The exact viewing size of the display is 31.6 inches, which with a 3840 by 2160 resolution brings the pixel density to about 140 pixels per inch, and this makes it extra sharp when viewing the smallest details. For me personally, I prefer an ultra-wide since a 16:9 aspect ratio makes multitasking a little bit challenging, and you would probably want to have an additional monitor for better productivity. Before we get into the fun stuff, let's go ahead and unbox this here. 32 4K QD OLED. Very excited about this. I'm gonna have to turn this around this way. Comes in a fairly large package. But thankfully they make it very easy to open it up, so I do appreciate that a lot. And by the way, don't mind the Grinch slippers. So right out the box, we get a nice instruction manual. We also get a calibration factory report, which is really awesome. All right, here is the base of the monitor stand here. And we'll see on the bottom right, we have NVIDIA G-Sync. Taking a look at the bottom of this, I do like the fact that this comes with wingtip screws, making it very easy to install without having to use tools. And you'll see some rubber feet on the bottom as well to protect your desk. All right, and here's the arm portion of the monitor stand here. And this is actually pretty hefty, very heavy here. Go ahead and pump this real quick. Awesome. All right, here's the back cover here to hide all of your cables. For the other side of the box, we're gonna have the US plug, no power brick in sight. We're also gonna get a DisplayPort cable, an HDMI cable, a USB option cable so you can connect directly to your computer. Give us this really nice microfiber cloth to clean the screen. And inside here, it looks like we get this cool looking Alienware sticker and some safety and regulation information that nobody reads. All right, let's go ahead and take this cardboard piece out to finally see what the monitor is all about. All right, before we remove the monitor here, we're gonna first assemble the stand itself. It goes in very easy, and then we're gonna use a wingtip screw here and we're gonna screw it in. Make that nice and tight. And now we're just going to angle it in. You're gonna see the top portion here is gonna go right inside these top two here. And we're also going to click this button as well to move down the lever here. And it should go in nice and smooth. Let go of the button, and now we have a nice sturdy connection. We can lift it up. All right, let's go ahead and reveal the back of the monitor here. All right, here's the back of the monitor here. Let me know what you guys think of this. Basically has that same white and black scheme. Kind of has like that PS5 color scheme going on, which looks really nice. You can see the Alienware logo right on the left side. And then we also have 32 on the right side, indicating that it's 32 inches, of course. All right, and on the bottom right of the monitor, we have all of our ports. You can see right over here, we have the USB upstream cable, and then we have two USB-A ports, and you'll notice that it says here, super speed with the 5, so it can have up to 5 gigabits per second. And then we have an HDMI 2.1 right over here. And then we have a secondary HDMI, so two USBs, and then we also have a display port. And they're gonna be facing downwards, so when you plug them in, you're gonna plug in the cables pretty much upwards. And on the left side, we have our power adapter here. So there is no power brick, so it looks like the power brick is going to be integrated on the monitor itself, making this monitor weigh a little bit heavier than it needs to be. All right, and taking a look at the bottom, we have the 4-directional joystick here to access the menu. We also have another USB-A port right over here, and we also have a USB-C port here, which is definitely in a weird position. All right, so if you ever want to cable manage here, you'll see that I have everything connected here. With all the ports on the right side, you can basically route all the cables right under this, and then you can have the cables routed inside the monitor stand, so you can have all the cables running outward. All right, to apply the back plate, we have all these tabs on the top here. We're basically just going to slide it underneath the cables, and we're going to kind of like make sure the cables are pushed inside, and then we're going to, there's like tabs on the bottom here that allows you to slide this up. Now once you find the tabs, you want to quickly apply pressure on each side to ensure that as you're sliding it up, it takes the other port, like it basically kind of like snaps in. It should slide up effortlessly just like that. And now you have basically all the cables pretty much hidden. This definitely cleans it up a lot. As you can see here, I have all the cables meeting in the middle and basically going through the whole monitor stand. So I'm liking the cable management so far. It does take a little bit of work, but it's definitely worth it in my opinion. Now that we have it all set up, the cables are nice and hidden, and this monitor does look great. The monitor stand features height adjustability, tilt, and swivel, but as you can see here, it's not as sturdy, and that's because it's sitting on top of my oversized mouse pad. So something that you have to really look into. Now, the only way to keep this monitor stand very sturdy is that it cannot sit on top of a mouse pad. So if it's sitting against your desk, if I try to swivel it again, you'll notice that the stand does not move anymore. This is why I highly recommend mounting it on a monitor arm, which makes it so much better and you get to win all the space back. Now for reference, this desk is about 26 inches deep. So you'll notice that you're losing a good amount of front space over here. So definitely one thing to consider when you get into this monitor is definitely invest in a really good monitor arm. All right, so as you guys can see, even though the monitor stand has its pros and cons, me personally, I prefer going the monitor arm route. All right, so when you want to mount a VESA mounts, you do have to remove these 4 screws here, and it does feature 100 by 100. All right, once you remove those 4 screws, you can go ahead and put in your VESA mount adapter here, and I also opt in for thumb screws, which makes it way easier for me to install these. It will make sure everything is nice and tight. And now we're ready to install it on the mount. Now, thankfully, this monitor is not super heavy, so putting this on is not that hard. All right, now we got it right on the monitor arm. All right, now that we have it mounted, it looks a million times better on a monitor arm. It's gonna free up so much space, so highly recommend it. And the one I'm using here is the Ergonomics HX. It's definitely overkill for this monitor, and I will link other ones that are much more budget friendly and it's definitely gonna support this one. But this is the one that I have as my all-in-one monitor arm that I use for all my monitor videos. And overall, it just looks so much better with the monitor arm. Now let's test out the gaming performance of the AW3225QF using my gaming PC equipped with an RTX 4090 and an AMD Ryzen 9 7900X. My full build will be in the description box below, so stay tuned because I will also showcase PS5 gameplay. Loading up Modern Warfare 3 with setting the monitor's color preset to FPS makes the colors favorable and easier to spot enemies. I usually like to play with the highest settings, but even with NVIDIA DLSS set to the highest quality, I average between 170 to 180 frames per second. I did have to change the DLSS to ultra performance to prioritize higher frame rates, where I was able to hit an average between 220 to 240 frames per second on this chaotic shipment match. So it's important to look into your GPU's 4K performance to get a realistic idea of how it'll perform on this monitor and also the games you're planning to play on. Either way, QD-OLED gaming is an amazing experience, and the gameplay is extra buttery with a super low 0.03 millisecond response time and 240 Hz refresh rate. You really feel all the action on the screen, so you can slap on the battlefield. The NVIDIA G-Sync compatibility is also a huge plus, and while there is no AMD FreeSync Premium Pro, it just means Dell decided to opt out of AMD certification for a more generic VESA Adaptive Sync Display certification. Either way, FreeSync will work great on either NVIDIA or AMD graphics cards. Forza 5 also looks amazing on this monitor. Similar to Modern Warfare 3, I would have to enable DLSS Ultra Performance to get about 180 to 200 frames per second on ultra high settings, and to get more than 240 frames, I did have to turn down the graphics settings from ultra to high, and then I was able to achieve more than 240 frames. But honestly, between the two, I like keeping higher fidelity for games like Forza. Now it's important to note that this monitor does not come with built-in speakers, and the gaming audio you're listening to right now are coming from my Edifier G2000 speakers. I don't mind that it doesn't come with speakers because usually it ends up not being that great, but what I don't like is the fact that there are no 3.5mm headphone jack, which puts console users in a tough position. It's confusing because they have a whole console mode in the game settings of this monitor. You would have to use headphones, and without using complicated adapters, if you wanted to output sound from this monitor, you would have to rely on the HDMI eARC port. That also means you sacrifice one of the HDMI ports, and you also need a compatible ARC-enabled soundbar or speaker on top of that. Taking a break from gaming, this QD-OLED display packs amazing features. It has a nice subtle 1700R curvature, which gives you a great viewing experience, and it's also VESA Display HDR True Black 400 certified, which produces deep blacks. I mean, look at that creamy honey. Brightness levels are great, making this so much brighter than older OLED monitors with a 1000 nit brightness peak over HDR. There's also Dolby Vision support, which I personally haven't tested, but it's there. Colors are amazing with a 99% DCI-P3 color coverage and a Delta E less than 2 accuracy, which really makes it pop. They say once you go OLED, there's just no going back. If you have a MacBook or a laptop with only USB-C, then connecting it to this monitor requires either USB-C to HDMI 2.1 or a USB-C to DisplayPort 1.4. The refresh rates you can get all depends on what laptop you have, so make sure you check specifications for your specific laptop. Since my M3 Max MacBook Pro features HDMI 2.1, I'll be using that instead. I'm able to get the full 4K resolution at 240Hz using HDMI 2.1, which is awesome with 5 resolution presets depending on how much space and how large you want the text to be. For me personally, I like to be in the middle at 3008 by 1692. macOS looks great on this monitor. I think Dell missed the opportunity to include USB-C DisplayPort. I would have been happy even if it didn't provide charging. They put a USB-C port on the bottom but forgot about laptop users who rely on USB-C. There's also no USB-C KVM switch, which makes sense since they also missed out on the USB-C DisplayPort. Picture by picture and picture in picture works good on this monitor, but given the 16:9 aspect ratio, it's not a feature I would use on this monitor, but at least it's there. So how does the PS5 perform on the AW3225QF? Well, I like how this monitor features an automatic input switch, which once enabled works very well. As always, adjusting the HDR is easy, and I'm happy to report that the PS5 will be able to output 4K resolution with variable refresh rates all the way up to 120Hz. And it also supports auto low latency mode as well. Playing the best PS5 game, Astro's Playroom, looks amazing on this monitor. The glossy panel really makes the colors pop. Now earlier I mentioned that there are no built-in speakers or a headphone jack on the monitor, which honestly still sucks and forces you to rely on a gaming headset. The audio at the moment is coming from the DualSense controller, and I don't have an ARC speaker to output sound for you guys. But despite the audio issues, there's no denying that PS5 gaming is fire. You can enable the built-in frame rate by accessing the menu, Game Enhanced mode, and enabling frame rate, which will appear on the top left corner. You can see when I have God of War Ragnarok set to performance mode, the Hertz update in real time showcasing that variable refresh rate is working. Another interesting feature of this monitor is the console mode option, which looking into the user manual is designed with an excellent picture quality at a fast response time and a high frame rate of 240Hz to give the best console game experience. Now I don't think it's worth getting this monitor solely to game on PS5 or Series X because I think it's a little overkill. But having the PS5 alongside your PC or Mac is a great combo, and sometimes that one game you want to play is only on PS5. To access the menu on this monitor, you have a 4-directional button joystick located right under the Alienware logo. Pressing the menu button brings up 5 shortcut options on the bottom of the screen, which you could customize and change. Pressing the up arrow allows you to access the full menu settings with a larger box letting us adjust game settings, brightness/contrast, input source, Alien FX lighting, which you can individually control the Alien logo and the number on the back of the monitor, and even the power light on the bottom right. You can also access picture-in-picture / picture-by-picture, adjust how the menu appears on the screen, custom personalization if you want to change the quick settings, and finally under others, we have information about the monitor, firmware, and factory reset options. But the most important part on this section is going to be the OLED maintenance option, which I would have liked to see a whole separate menu for this so it's easier and more obvious to access. You can do an OLED pixel refresh which lasts about 6 to 8 minutes, and they also recommend this every 4 hours of usage. You could also do this automatically when in standby mode. If you're still worried about burn-in, then the good thing is that Dell is including a 3-year warranty, which includes a free panel replacement and then an advanced exchange service that would completely replace your monitor, including OLED burn-in. So there's really no excuse not to make the switch to that beautiful QD-OLED screen. Now earlier I said I preferred ultra-wide monitors because the 16:9 aspect ratio can feel a little tight. If you like to use multiple windows or apps, it starts to get a little cramped if you're trying to do a 3-way or a higher split. It is doable and still a better experience versus a 27-inch monitor, but you may want to have a secondary monitor for extra productivity. For me, having a max of 2 windows side by side gives me enough room and space to comfortably multitask between the two. As a content creator, I rely heavily on editing software like DaVinci Resolve to create and edit my content. Having a large 32-inch screen and the 4K resolution makes editing an awesome experience. There's enough room to display the most important features, and I get a good look at the timeline. Whether you're editing or color grading, this monitor does a great job. So is the Alienware AW3225QF monitor worth the price tag of $1,200? Considering what you get out of this monitor despite it not having USB DisplayPort or DisplayPort 2.1, the price is a great deal. You're getting the latest QD-OLED panel combined with 4K resolution, 240Hz, and a gorgeous glossy panel. And let's not forget about the reassuring 3-year limited warranty. The gaming experience was fire, the text and clarity is lit, and the colors is amazing. I really have no issues recommending this monitor if you're looking for something that provides a great gaming experience and one of the best QD-OLED panels in the market. If you are interested in getting this monitor or the many tech that you've seen in this video, I will have affiliate links down below, which also helps and supports the Firewolf Tech channel. I want to thank you for sticking to the end of this video and would also like to know your thoughts and feedbacks in the comments down below. I hope this video was helpful for you guys, and I would love your support with a like, share, and subscribe. Firewolf out.